Next up, we have our State Treasurer, the Honorable Stacy Garrity. Now, we have in your program is a full biography of her background. Let me just point out a few things. Elected in 2020, re-elected in 2024, who've earned her place in history. With her victory in 2024, Stacy Garrity received more votes than any candidate in the history of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And keeping with a theme we've talked about throughout the day, someone who has experience not only in government, but even more importantly in the private sector, understanding how businesses work, living in the real world, and understanding that every penny you and I send to Harrisburg must be watched over and protected and used wisely, and she has done that and then some. In addition to her work in government and her prior work in the private sector, she is a retired U.S. Army Reserve colonel, truly committed to public service. You're certainly allowed to applaud for military service. So Stacy comes to us as someone who has worked in the business world, fought her way into the C-suite in corporate America, who has served us wearing our nation's uniform. And as State Treasurer has done her job to oversee in her purview, $180 billion worth of money. I'm still old enough to think $180 billion is a lot of money. She oversees those dollars to make sure that they're invested and used wisely. She has made sure that assets that are not ours in the Commonwealth but belong to citizens get back to them. And I would add on another note, she has crisscrossed this state from South Philly to Erie and back again on behalf of our party, going to community meetings, civic meetings, and you name it. A tireless worker, a wonderful public servant, and a great State Treasurer. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Stacy Garrity.
Thank you. So good afternoon, PLC. Yeah. So I feel honored and humbled because you all chose to re-elect me to a second term as State Treasurer, so thank you. And I feel excited because we, as a party, are here as winners. The Keystone State sent President Trump back to the White House, Bob Casey back to Scranton, elected a Republican Attorney General for the first time in over a decade. And next November, that's right, it's a great thing, the Keystone State will send a Republican to the governor's mansion. So I'm excited because of our success in November, but I am also excited for the future. Now, if you ask political commentators why Pennsylvania is going red, they're going to give you all kinds of crazy answers. They'll say it's because of demographic changes. They'll say it's because President Trump is taking advantage of working men and women. Can you believe that? They'll say it's because working class Americans, like many of the people in this room, including me, are uneducated and uninformed. Now, I am no expert in political science, but understanding the positions of working men and women isn't rocket science either, is it? Pennsylvania is turning red for one reason and one reason alone. People are sick and tired of the BS. We are sick and tired of being told that we should come second to wars in far-off lands that have no bearing on our lives. We're sick and tired of weak American leadership throughout the world that led to those wars in the first place. We're sick and tired of being told to shut up and sit down just for expressing our opinions. And that's why we all stood up last November and expressed our opinions. And you know what? We started a red tsunami across the Commonwealth and the nation. So that's why I'm excited, because even though we had a lot of success in November, we are just getting started, right? But folks, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, because for as excited as I am, and I truly am, I'm also just a little bit worried, because when President Trump first won the White House in 2016, we saw how the Democrats treated him. Fraudulent accusations about Russia, nonstop personal attacks from the media, fake stories from anonymous sources that serve to not only undermine President Trump, but the office of the presidency itself. The left's attempt to bring down a man who was doing nothing more than standing up for the forgotten vandalized one of this nation's most sacred institutions, a democratic institution that more than 1 million brave American service members paid the ultimate sacrifice to protect. And you know what? They did this all when they did not consider President Trump to be a serious person. So imagine what they're planning to do now that they know he means business, because he is already bringing about results that are so great for the American people. But you know what? Terrible for illegal aliens, the deep state, and the radical leftists. So since taking office, President Trump has secured trillions of dollars of foreign investment in the United States. So what a concept. Instead of American jobs and cash being sent overseas, let's make other countries invest in America. ICE has arrested and is in the process of deporting thousands of illegal immigrants. Now, if you listen to leftist propaganda that you hear on TV or see on social media, they're going to have you believe that these are just honest people trying to make a living. So since President Trump has taken office, ICE has arrested more than 33,000 illegal immigrants with criminal histories of sexual assault, robbery, burglary, aggravated assault, drugs, weapons offenses, resisting arrest, and domestic violence. Now, people can debate whether or not people don't have a criminal history should be treated with any kind of leniency when it comes to deportation. But it is utterly insane and un-American that the previous administration didn't deport these people, known criminals, out of our country. President Trump has signed a series of executive orders ensuring the elimination of DEI practices and restoring merit-based hiring. President Trump is working to increase government efficiency with his new department, DOGE, and has already saved taxpayers $140 billion. That's $1,000 per taxpayer. How great is that? So abroad, President Trump has put our enemies on watch, and he has set boundaries for our friends. He's restoring fair trade balance with the United States and our trading partners by putting tariffs on countries that place tariffs on American goods. All of these common sense measures are good for the American people. But you know what? They are a death sentence for the evil forces at play within our own country and abroad. So folks, the fight is not over. It is just beginning. And in order to make sure President Trump stands a fighting chance, to ensure that President Trump can fight for the American people instead of fighting for his own presidency, we need to keep the Democrats distracted. And you know what the best way to do that is? Keep winning at all levels. And there is no better place to get that done than right here in Pennsylvania, and there is no better time to start than right now. This year, you know, we have so many local and county races throughout the entire Commonwealth, but you know what? We have some statewide judicial races as well. Now, the judicial races are not the most glamorous, but they are incredibly important. Because here's the thing, a lot of people are looking forward to and they're excited about races happening in 2026 because we have the chance to take back the state house, keep the state Senate, and elect a Republican governor. Republicans could take full control of both the legislative and executive branches. But you know, all of that is meaningless if we don't have solid conservatives on our statewide appellate courts to rule based on the law, not radical leftist interpretations of what they think the law should be. That's why it's so crucial that we elect solid conservative judges to the Commonwealth Court and Superior Court this November. So just look at how the judicial system has treated President Trump over the past decade. And you know what? Look at what they're trying to do, even just today, to slow down the progress that President Trump is making in America. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of an update about my work at Treasury. And I want to start once again by thanking you all from the bottom of my heart for not only re-electing me as state treasurer, but for doing so in historic fashion. You heard Guy say, my campaign received more votes than any statewide candidate in the history of the Commonwealth, including Josh Shapiro. But seriously, I am not saying that to brag, because it's not my victory. It was a victory and a resounding mandate for fiscal sanity and transparency in Harrisburg. And that's why my office, we will continue to strive to do what's right throughout the rest of my time at Treasury. My office will continue to return record amounts of unclaimed property, help parents save for their kids' education, and help our disabled community have more financial freedom. Oh, and who here is excited about what Elon and Doge are doing? All right, give it up for Elon and Doge. Well, guess what? So my office is doing that right here in Pennsylvania. And I'll tell you about it. So every payment from the Commonwealth, from more than 70 agencies, which, by the way, that's too many agencies if you ask me, it runs through Pennsylvania Treasury. And because of the safeguards that I worked to put in place during my first term and the hard work of my tremendous team, my office has stopped billions of dollars in improper payments. In fact, just last fiscal year alone, we stopped $1.7 billion in improper payments from going out the door. So as we all continue to watch President Trump, Elon, and the rest of the team continue to fight for more and more ways to rein in wasteful spending at the federal level, don't worry, know that I'm going to continue to do the same thing right here in Pennsylvania. Now, my office also has direct investment authority over billions of taxpayer dollars. And as the Commonwealth's fiduciary, my job is to provide the highest return for taxpayers as possible. It is not my job to save the environment, promote DEI, or partake in any of the other initiatives that the radical leftists want to see me do with your taxpayer money. It's my job to make as much money as possible, but I also see it as my job to use this money to promote economic growth here in Pennsylvania. And you know what? Fortunately, there is a lot of opportunity where we can do both. And I'll just give you two quick examples. My office has about $40 million invested in something that's called the Erect Fund. And this is a fund that provides investments for income-producing real estate all right here in Pennsylvania. And we also have $25 million invested in the ULICO Fund, and that is a fund that invests in infrastructure projects in Pennsylvania. And because of the deal that I made with ULICO, we're going to see $50 million in infrastructure projects over the next 4 years right here in Pennsylvania. So investments like these make Pennsylvania a good return on their taxpayer dollars, while they're also creating family-sustaining jobs right here in the Commonwealth. But here's the deal, folks. Our elected officials need to get real and stop living in fantasy land. Not the elected officials here, by the way. We have billions of dollars of natural gas gold under our feet. We need to unleash it. We have to. Right now, natural gas supports over 100,000 family-sustaining jobs right here in the Commonwealth, and generates billions and billions of dollars of economic benefit. So imagine, just imagine this, what could we do without the needless and overcomplicated thumb of state government on the scale? Unleashing our energy sector will make Pennsylvania a global energy leader overnight. It will create thousands more high-paying jobs and give our Commonwealth some financial breathing room. You know what? We also need to get spending under control, don't we? When the Democrats see an issue, they throw money at it, and they hope for the best. And that's exactly what we're doing with public education. Last year, Pennsylvania spent almost $22,000 per student per year, putting Pennsylvania in the top 20% of all states by spending by student. And last year, you know what? Just a little bit more than 50% of our 8th graders could read, and they were proficient in math. So as state treasurer, I like to look at things through the, a lens of return on investment. And you know what? That doesn't sound like a good investment to me. So the path forward is very, very simple. We need to unleash the private sector and rein in the public sector. But we need to reignite what it means to be a Pennsylvanian. This Commonwealth was the birthplace of our nation. Almost 250 years ago, the Declaration of Independence was signed, about 100 miles from where we're sitting. If you walk by Independence Hall, you're going to see drug addicts, crime, and filth on the streets. And that is a great metaphor for where our Commonwealth is heading without proper leadership. But to reignite what it means to be a Pennsylvanian, we must first fight to reignite our Commonwealth as a whole. So I look forward to continuing to stand up for what is right in our government, no matter what my role is. Because my victory is your victory. President Trump's victory is your victory. Dave McCormick, Dave Sunday, Tim DeFore's victories, they're your victories. And you know what? It's important that we all keep our eyes on the prize, especially when we find the need to fight amongst ourselves. So as we look forward to the future, it is incumbent on all of us to continue to do the good work of electing solid Republicans to all levels of government for our communities, for our children, for our children's children, and to honor the founding principles that make our country so great, to keep America, as President Reagan used to say, as that shining city on the hill. And every year when I come to Pennsylvania Leadership Conference, I know that I can rest assured that the values and principles we all hold so near and dear will continue to be fought for the sake of our Commonwealth and our country. Thank you. God bless all of you. God bless Pennsylvania. And God bless the United States. Thank you.